Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Terence Bud Crawford is the real boogeyman of the 147-pound welterweight division. You know, Terence Bud Crawford was already ducked by Danny Garcia when he offered Danny Garcia a contract, basically offered him about $5 million to take on the fight. And Danny Garcia wanted absolutely no part of it. Even Amir Khan's taking the fight. So you have to commend Amir Khan, but no one else at the welterweight division at a high level wants to fight Terence Crawford for his belt. The so-called boogeyman and baddest man in the division is Errol Spence Jr., and he didn't want to fight with Terence Bud Crawford. Initially, he came out and stated that he does not want to cross the other side of the street. He will not be fighting on ESPN, but he also says he's his own boss. So at the same time, if you're your own boss, you're not willing to negotiate with Terence Crawford. You're not willing to make the fight, and you're not willing to cross the street to ESPN. And ESPN has the biggest boxing audience in boxing today. There's no other network or platform you can go on to be seen by as many eyes as you can on ESPN. So the fact that Errol Spence Jr. refused to even consider it, negotiate it, or think about it shows that he has no interest in fighting Terence Bud Crawford, because Terence Bud Crawford is elite in every category. Terence Bud Crawford is a special, transcendent fighter, Terence Bud Crawford was actually a unified, undisputed world champion at 140 pounds. Terence Bud Crawford has won both of his fights at welterweight by stoppage and is already a world champion in his first fight at welterweight. So if you look at it honestly and unbiasedly, Terence Bud Crawford is the boogeyman of the 147-pound division. He's light years above Errol Spence when it comes to, pretty much everything boxing ability wise. And not only that, Terence Bud Crawford is big and strong enough to be a full-fledged welterweight. And not only that, Terence Bud Crawford is acclimated to the size and the weight of the welterweight division. Terence Bud Crawford has elite level defense, offense, and also Terence Bud Crawford can do things that simply very few, if no, fighters can do at this time in the game. Anyway, he can switch, from orthodox to southpaw. Terence Bud Crawford can do a lot. Terence Bud Crawford also has power to wear down his opponents and stop him late. I believe Errol Spence Jr. would take too much punishment from a guy like Terence Bud Crawford, and I believe Crawford will wear him down methodically over the rounds early in the fight within the first 6 rounds and probably stop Errol Spence Jr. I know a lot of people say, no, that can't happen, this and that, but we've never seen Errol Spence Jr.'s chin tested. We've never seen him tested against an elite level, top caliber opponent. What opponent has Errol Spence Jr. faced that had elite level punching power? Kell Brook had punching power, but we wouldn't say elite, because Kell Brook was not just knocking out elite top level opponents. When he fought Sean Porter, did he knock him out? No. He won a close, very close, razor-thin decision against Sean Porter. So you have to be honest and unbiased, is that Kell Brook was not knocking out any big names or anything like that. Kell Brook was fighting a bunch of tomato cans, stepped up in competition against Triple G, and won a razor-thin victory against Sean Porter, never dropping and hurting Sean Porter in that fight. So let's be honest and unbiased. Errol Spence Jr. never faced an opponent that was strong enough to put him down, to hurt him, and to drop him and knock him out. Terence Bud Crawford will be. The fight with Terence Bud Crawford, in any other welterweight, you would have to favor Terence Crawford because of the skill set. You favor Terence Bud Crawford over Amir King Khan because Terence Bud Crawford actually has the elite level boxing skills to box with Amir Khan, should he not be able to stop him at some point in the fight. I do believe that Terence Bud Crawford will stop Amir Khan at some point in the fight because of his weak chin, but even up to that point, I don't see Terence Crawford losing all the rounds. I think Terence Crawford is going to give Amir Khan looks that he's not used to getting. He's going to show the world why he's truly a special fighter. I think Danny Garcia would have a hard time against Terence Crawford, Sean Porter, because styles really do make fights. And I think probably the best and most difficult fight for Terence Crawford is Keith Thurman, because Keith Thurman has so many skills and facets to his game that it will be the most difficult part for Terence Bud Crawford. But even Keith Thurman is vulnerable. When you see him going at it against Josecito Lopez and almost getting stopped in that fight, you see that Terence Bud Crawford would probably walk through him at that point, about midway through the fight, when Keith Thurman tends to wear down, because we don't know if Keith Thurman will ever be the same Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman looks extremely vulnerable right now, so it's obvious and has to be said that Terence Bud Crawford is the true one and only boogeyman of the welterweight division. Once again, it's the Ibfp Unbiased. As always, please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.